Hey guys, here is the answer key from the assignment on the simple trig equations, okay? The first thing you're gonna need to do these problems is your trusty rusty chart that you'll keep to the side, and then also you have your all students take calculus for knowing what's positive where, all right? So the first one, we've got 2 times the sine of x is equal to 1. Well, what you can do is just think of the sine of x as its own variable. So let's let y equal the sine of x, okay? I'm just going to use y since we already have an x in the problem. Sorry, let me try and figure. Okay, so we're going to let y be equal to the sine of x. So then this problem becomes 2 times y is equal to 1. Okay, and then how do we solve for y? We just divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, and we get that y is equal to 1/2. Okay, so y is equal to 1/2. Well, we just said that y is what? Y is the sine of x. So since y is 1/2, we know that the sine of x is equal to 1/2. Okay? There we go. So we know that the sine of x is equal to 1/2. Now, we go back to our chart, and we say, okay, bless you, Chloe. Sorry, Chloe. Say hi, Chloe. Hello. Okay, and then I have the dogs here. There's one. There's the other. They're all interested in learning math. You should be too. Okay, so we've got the sine of x is 1/2. So we look at our chart. We say, okay, what is the reference angle when sine is 1/2? So we say, okay, here it is. The reference angle is 30, okay? So we know that x is equal to 30. Let's do it up here. Actually, let me get another color. Hold on. All right. We know that x is equal to 30 degrees, okay? But where is sine positive? We know sine is positive in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2, okay? We know because the question did say solve for all values of x between 0 and 360. So there's another angle too, okay? We have a second quadrant angle whose reference angle is 30 degrees. So we know this is 30 right here, okay? So in quadrant 2, do you remember how to find the angle and the reference angle? Well, we do 180 minus 30, and we get 150. So in addition to x being 30, x is also going to be equal to 150 degrees. So that's why the answer to this problem is x equals 30 and x equals 150. Okay, that's the way I like to do it. I think you'll find it easier that way as well. So let me erase this and rewrite the second problem. All right, so the second problem said 3 times the tangent of x is equal to 0. But just as before, we're going to let y be equal to the tangent of x. Again, if you don't have to do this, this is not a mandatory step. It's just to help you solve it, because what it does is it turns this funky-looking trig problem into just a regular linear algebra problem. So we get 3y is equal to 0. Sorry, it's not the easiest thing to do. So we get 3y equals 0. We divide by 3. We divide by 3, and we get that y is equal to 0. So if y equals 0, well, we let y be equal to the tangent of x. That means that tangent of x is equal to 0. Okay, so we go to our chart and we say, okay, where is tangent equal to 0? Well, tangent is at 0 degrees, okay, at 0 degrees. So we know, bloop, let me get more space. I'll do it here, hold on. Okay. So we know that x is going to be equal to 0 degrees. Now, where else is tangent going to be equal to 0? Okay. Here we go. We know that tangent is 0 when sine is 0. Sine is 0 at 0 degrees, and also where? At 180 degrees. So, therefore, it's in addition to being 0 degrees, it's also going to be 180 degrees. And there we go, all right? Because what happens at 90 and 270 is we are undefined, because that's when cosine is equal to 0. So it's not 90 and 270, it's just going to be 0 and 180. All right, next up was the cosine of x plus 1 equals 0. So we take our cosine of x, we let y equal cosine of x, and it just becomes y plus 1 equals 0. Okay, and then solve for y. So we subtract 1 from each side. Subtract 1, subtract 1. We get y is equal to -1. Okay, so if y is -1, Chloe, you think that's funny? We get the cosine of x is equal to -1. Well, first off, we have to go and see, well, where is cosine going to be equal to 1? Well, look, that's 0 degrees, okay? And if we look at the unit circle, let me draw this out real quick. It's a terrible circle. 1, 0, 0, 1. And 0, -1, okay? We know that cosine is the x-coordinate here. So here it's +1, 0. Here it's -1. So there's only going to be one answer here between 0 and 360, where cosine is -1. You can also think of the cosine graph, which we've done already, okay? And we know that the cosine graph between 0 and 360 only hits our minimum value of -1 one time, and that's down at 180 degrees. So that's why the answer here is x equals 180 degrees, and that's it. That's it. There's no multiple answers for this one. And the final one is that we have the 2 sine of x is equal to -1. So as before, let's let y equal the sine of x. So we have 2y is equal to -1. All right, we divide by 2. Divide by 2. Y is equal to -1/2. You like that? Yeah, Chloe. Good, you could do it. There you go. So we get y is equal to -1/2, okay? So that means that the sine of x equals -1/2. You're wearing your hat like a plate. Good. Or a plate like a hat, excuse me. So. All right, so now we go, we go over to our chart and we say, okay, sine is 1/2 at 30 degrees, but now it's negative. So we're not in quadrant 1, we're not in quadrant 2. We got a 30-degree reference angle in quadrants 3 and in quadrants 4. So quadrant 3 and quadrants 4. So in quadrant 3, we've got a 30-degree reference angle. So that's 180 plus 30. Which is equal to 210 degrees. And then in quadrant 4, we've got 30-degree reference angle. So we do 360 minus 30. And that's 330 degrees. So that gives us final answers here, which I'll just write it down here. The corner is that x equals 210 and 330. Okay, so that's actually the basic trig equations. All right, I hope that helped. If not, just shoot me an email and I will get back to you right away as quickly as I can. All right, I'll talk to you later.